Mayor, we are live.
All right, welcome to the special meeting of the Glendale City Council. May we have roll call?
Councilmember Brotman,
Here.
Garpetian,
Here.
Kasakian, Najarian,
Here.
Mayor Asatryan.
Here. And may we have your report?
The agenda for the Tuesday, February 18th, 2025 special public meeting of the City Council was posted on February 15th, 2025 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
All right, and what's next?
Item number 1, community development regarding Greater Downtown Glendale Association calendar year 2024 annual report and calendar year 2025 budget for the Greater Downtown Glendale Community Benefit District. A motion to accept Greater Downtown Glendale Association's calendar year 2024 annual report and calendar year 2025 budget for the Greater Downtown Glendale Community Benefit District. Mayor, I do have 2 cards for this item.
Okay. Welcome, Ms. Wang.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor and City Council members. In economic development, we are committed to fostering a thriving business environment, and the Greater Downtown Glendale Association is certainly a key partner in that effort. Their annual report highlights the district's key activities, growth, business events throughout the district, quite frankly, achievements in the past year. And we remain extremely committed in terms of discussing key priorities and challenges and opportunities. In fact, our Community Development Director, Mr. Bradley Calvert, is a board member with the association. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce and turn it over to Mr. Randy Stevenson. He is the new president for the Greater Downtown Glendale Association.
Welcome.
Thank you, Shua. Good afternoon, Mayor Asatryan, council members, and city staff. I'm filling some rather large shoes today. Rick Lemo, who's been our ever-present, tireless supporter and past president of the Greater Downtown Glendale Association, has stepped down from his role as president, but continues to support the district as an active board member and sounding board for those such as myself, and whose charge it is to carry on with the mission of the GDGA. Thank you, Rick, for all of your hard work, expertise, and your future counsel, which will undoubtedly be invaluable moving the district forward. I believe you've all received the Greater Downtown Glendale Association annual report. I can say with great pride that the GDGA is yet again in excellent financial condition and making a real impact on the experience of downtown Glendale for all of our property owners, residents, and visitors. As a supportive partner of our fabulous property owners that bring destination retail, entertainment and dining options, premier residential experiences, and desirable work environments, Greater Downtown Glendale Association successfully implements its mandate to maintain a visibly clean, safe, and welcoming environment for residents and visitors while promoting all of the outstanding amenities the district has to offer. In that light, we have our signature International Women's Day event on March 7th, 2025, hosted at the Glenmark Hotel. We are honored this year to have a terrific headline speaker, Mayor Ellen Asatryan. Mayor Asatryan, the GDGA is proud to have you as the featured speaker, and I look forward to seeing you all at the event and urge you all to invite your friends and family to attend what will surely be a most enjoyable afternoon. As you all know, the GDGA helps to financially support and promote events such as Cruise Night, Tech Week, and the State of the City, using these as touch points to expand public perception and interest in the district. The GDGA has worked very closely with city staff in the city manager's office, economic development, community development, as well as city council to provide support and feedback to facilitate placemaking projects such as the dining parklets along Brand Boulevard and the Bridge Link, which will come to fruition in 2025. We also work closely with our excellent police department to ensure that we're doing all we can to communicate issues of public safety and to help facilitate a safe and enjoyable experience in Greater Downtown. The GDGA will continue to perform the highest level of service to create the best experience possible for our property owners and their tenants, as well as the residents and visitors to the downtown. Couple that with even greater promotion of the downtown, we will expand our message to neighboring cities and the region at large that downtown Glendale is unrivaled in the experience afforded those who choose to live, work, and play in the city. We truly appreciate your partnership and your support and look forward to continuing to support you in making downtown Glendale the place to be in Southern California. Thank you. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, Mr. Stevenson. Do any of my colleagues, I actually had some questions for you, if you don't
Yes.
mind. But did my colleagues have any questions or comments?
I'll ask
Comments, but go ahead.
I'm just wondering about where we are with the outdoor dining, with the parklets.
Mr. Calvert should be able to give you an update.
Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. We are currently, we essentially had to renegotiate the contract with the design team. As time passed, inflation kind of set in. The costs went a little bit too high, which started to make it cost prohibitive. We believe we've come to a middle ground with them, and we should start seeing one of the first ones go in probably mid to late summer this year.
Okay. Thanks. Just because they're nice up in Montrose, and you don't want to be falling behind. So it has been quite a long time that we've been talking about it. I think 2 years, no, maybe 3 years. Hard to believe that COVID started 5 years ago, but I think it's been about 3 years we've been talking about making, upgrading those and making them like we're seeing in some other cities, level with the sidewalk and nice flooring and artwork and everything that makes it feel like it's not just a slapdash kind of COVID response, but it's something permanent and something really attractive.
And replicable as well in terms of design. So
Yeah.
that's been part of the process, which is let's make it easy so that we have set design standards that, when you have those, then once they can be implemented, it's easy to kind of cut and paste and redo in different locations.
Any other questions?
Oh, just comment. So, Lemo is out?
Lemo is out and Lemo is in.
Okay, is he still
So
on the board?
he still is on the board, yes.
Okay. Well, it's good to see you, Randy, and I know you'll, although Rick was very successful in advocating, I think you'll bring a certain level of finesse to the position. And you mentioned about having big shoes to fill. They are big shoes to fill. Rick has certainly done a good job, and Rick Lemo was involved in the very initiation of this, which was 12 years ago? I don't know, how many years are we talking? 12?
Yeah. 12 years this year.
2013. Okay, a good 12 years. So I think you're off to a good start. You've got good staff. I know Marco is your man on the boots on the ground. And I'm still amazed every time I see Brand Boulevard. It's really such a clean, shiny, entertaining street with the seasonal decorations that you put up. And I'm glad that was extended north to North Brand as well. So I know you appreciate that as well, having your office on North Brand. So it's great. I think you've done a great job for the city, the entire organization. I wish you good luck in your new position as president.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, I'll start off with congratulating on your new position.
Thank you.
And just for the record, Mr. Lemo's in the back here. He might be out, but he's still here. So I did have a couple of questions. I've raised this time and again on this dais, but I have grave concerns with respect to the rising rent costs and the number of especially eateries that have shut down in our city who can't afford to keep their doors open. How do you balance between the landlords that are part of your membership and the tenants who are our small business owners?
So I think really the best, most pointed answer to that is really going back to our mission, which is to create the environment that brings bodies to the street that's going to make those tenants successful. Tenants are successful, the landlords are successful. So in sort of taking a backward-looking assessment, I think we've done an excellent job at clean. I think in combination with the police department, we do an excellent job of safe. It's visually appealing. truly moving forward, some of the tasks that we have to take on is promoting even more. We've got a daytime work population that has, for lack of a better description, been reduced substantially. We all know we have a significant vacancy, as do many of our neighboring cities. Cross-promotion is, in my mind, very simple. If there are attractive features on the street, then those are attractive features for people to work in those buildings, attractive features for their employees and business owners to live in the city. So as it relates to landlord-tenant relationships, can't really comment on those other than to say our job, as we perceive it, and as is our mandate, is to make this city the destination for those owners and businesses. So the more traffic we can drive, the more successful we can make those businesses, and hopefully that means that landlords and tenants can have successful relationships.
But there's conflicting opportunities for each there, right? And so, especially with the rising costs, and I mean, really, it's in the pudding. Time and again, I'm seeing restaurants and eateries close. Are there opportunities where your board or your organization is holding some mitigation, or, you know, how do we solve this problem situation, given that it is part of your overall thing to make sure that we do have?
So our mandate is in the public right-of-way, right? So we can really only certainly control, to the best of our ability, what goes on in the public right-of-way. As it relates to, you know, individual relationships between landlords and businesses, in the case of a business that might be struggling, there's really nothing that the GDGA can do to interject in those relationships. We really are property line to property line in the public right-of-way. So as we see it, the more demand we can create for people to come to those businesses, that's the best means in which we can facilitate it. We certainly don't have a monetary answer. Right. We certainly don't have the mandate to, again, interject ourselves. If a tenant were to come to you and you were to direct them to the GGGA, there's really nothing we could say about that relationship or what was going on between a landlord and a tenant.
I'm not talking about like specifics, right? Like, or specific issues between landlords and tenants. I'm talking about an overarching strategic collaboration and figuring out how we meet our mission to make sure that the doors of our small businesses remain open in downtown, right? Which would drive the traffic, which is part of your mission, and how we kind of balance that with, you know, you guys are out in the field, right? Like, and the boots on the ground as well. So also looking at, you know, how you help drive policy that helps in this. As part of that discussion, I know that throughout the report, I was also reading about community outreach and engagement. I think, you know, looking at how we, you know, work together closer with our economic development department, and making sure that the businesses that we do have in downtown are highlighted using different mechanisms that reach diverse communities, only like brings more people to Glendale.
Yeah. Again, in dealing with, think of a public right-of-way issue that popped into my head. If we've got sidewalk vendors, right? Well, those are in direct competition. Now, people can argue about whether or not someone patronizing a sidewalk vendor is the same person that's going to patronize a business. My family has history operating restaurants, and I would tell you that as someone who's had brick and mortar locations, it's exceptionally unnerving to have people selling a similar product, if you will, a food product in front, not to mention, again, the cleanup costs and those sorts of things. So in terms of advocacy in those areas, absolutely, the GDGA is going to be in there to try and protect the owners and the businesses that are operating there. So it's a dance we have to do with where can we have impact and really where are we getting outside of our box. And you know, again, we do everything we can to make the city more desirable. But again, if it happens on fee simple property, it's not something that we can have a say in. Our view is that creating a public space that's desirable is where our mandate starts and stops. So everything that we can do there, again, we need more people on the street. What we need are the high rises full. You know, if a business required lunchtime traffic to be successful, no one's going to stand here and say that it hasn't been impacted significantly. And in that case, then you know what? Landlords may have to make an adjustment just based on the fact as to the volume that businesses can do because there's less foot traffic there. So our job, promote the city, make the city look great, make people feel safe. Let's get bodies back in those office buildings, let them go out on the street and make those small businesses successful.
Couple of quick things.
Sure. Thank you, sir.
And Randy, I just want to join my colleagues and congratulate you on your new position as well.
Thank you.
I'm sure you're going to do a great job. I have a question because many people, although we say this over and over again every year, but they may not be aware as to how this Greater Downtown Glendale Association is funded. It's mostly self-assessed. Could you just elaborate on it a little bit?
Sure. So the funding for the GDGA is basically the property owners 12 years ago elected to tax themselves to raise the funds in order to operate the services that are provided. And so it is an assessment on the property tax bills. Obviously, the city is a big participant in that the city owns a significant amount of land in the Greater Downtown Glendale Association area. So it's essentially entirely self-funded, and we provide the services in the public right-of-way that that essentially, again, from a mandate standpoint, keep it clean, keep it safe, et cetera. Decorations, we work closely with the city in terms of there's infrastructure there, there's power infrastructure and the like. And so when we work with community development in terms of being able to affect the changes that we want, to be able to affect the displays that we want, there is certainly some synergy there. There's certainly some cross-pollination in terms of the city is contributing and all the property owners are contributing vis-a-vis their property tax structure.
Got it. Thank you. And as far as Mr. Lemo goes, I think he's the godfather of Greater Downtown Glendale Association. He would never be out. What was it, that movie said? As I thought I was out, they pulled me right back in. That would be his story. I don't think he will ever go away. So I want to thank you for everything you've done for our city as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And, I had a question before, but I didn't have an opportunity to also give my congratulations to both of you. I'm sure that Rick is going to maybe have a little bit more time to spend with, I think you've talked about your grandchildren. Yeah. I think that's one of the things he probably is going to enjoy having a little bit more time to do. And congratulations to you. I guess it's just extra work with no pay, but whatever. That's what we're all used to.
No, it's well worth it. Well worth it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right.
Mayor, next person is Rick Lemo. And I do have a caller for this item after Rick.
That was fast.
Well, the first thing I wanted to do was to thank some people who worked with us to found the Greater Downtown Glendale Association. We had 3 city managers that went through the process: Raul Porto, Dennis DiPietro, and Helen McDonough, and myself. I also want to give some credit to what was supposed to be my former employer, but I'm really still only semi-retired. Rick Caruso gave us, along with Jim Starbird, a mandate that said, we promised that whatever success the Americana had was not going to stay in this little pocket down there. Got to find a way to get to work on the rest. And so we formed the Greater Downtown Glendale Association, and we are decidedly a property assessed group because tenants change and you can't depend on that money to give you the stability and consistency you need to put Glendale in the spotlight. We've also, very proud to say that we've eliminated some of the expense that the city had in those right-of-ways, and went just a little further than the city would have time to do with all the other things they have, taking gum off the sidewalks, putting up canisters to take cigarette butts and those kinds of things. But we also welcome people to Glendale, and I think that's a really big deal. For example, I guess we're going to get some sunshine again. If our ambassadors are wearing sunglasses, we ask them to take them off and welcome people to Glendale as they go about their day. Little things like that. Our property owners believe that we bring a value to their tenants hopefully by increasing the people that come to their door. But the reason that we're a property owners-based group is you can't depend on tenants to always do what's best for their business. Some of them have dreamt about having a business since they were younger, and they'll try this, they'll try that. Restaurants have a shelf life of between 5 and 7 years, a little less if they don't do their remodeling at 5 years, as the statistics tell us they have to do. So we try and bring people to their door. We also tried to take the edge off of COVID. We were the first district, certainly in the state, to provide masks directly to all of the tenants of our members. Those kinds of little things to show them that we were trying to work with them. But I also want to thank city staff, who we have had a wonderful relationship with, and they've helped guide us and keep us on the right track, as well as giving us great ideas. And having Bradley on the board has been phenomenal. And so with that, thank you for your time, and thank you also for the support you're going to give Randy, because we decided to go from somebody short and charming to somebody tall, charming, and smart. So thank you all.
Thank you. And thank you for your service. All right.
Mayor, next is Fernando Roldan. Fernando, you are live. Go ahead, Fernando. You have 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Driver's license or passport. If you have any questions,
Fernando?
if you need to reschedule, or if you have any other, or you're working, please give me a
Fernando,
call.
can you lower the volume on your TV? Fernando? Fernando, can you hear us?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Fernando, go ahead. You got 3 minutes.
Okay. Yes. First of all, for the new president of the Glendale Association, there are two things I'd like to request from the Glendale Association. Now, I agree with the mayor. We are losing businesses, and that's something we cannot afford to do. We need those businesses as part of to make sure that they stay in Glendale, because it makes a greater image. Two, we need to make sure that our businesses are ADA compliant. Sometimes I've gone to businesses where they're not, and that needs to be resolved. So I'm hoping that you guys create a special task force to talk about the Americans with Disabilities Act. So I'm hoping that can be created. And number three, traffic's really horrendous. Traffic lights are not always great, and I like to ask the Glendale Association to work with the mayor and the council to make those a congestion a little lighter for us. And that's my 2 cents on that. Thank you.
Mayor, there are no more callers.
All right. What action do the staff need on this?
Well, it's a motion to
It's
approve
just-
the budget, or the report, sorry.
Okay.
Item 1, motion to accept Greater Downtown Association calendar.
Well, before we go, we move forward. Do we have a say on the budget and how it's allocated? Can I get some direction on that?
Except through Bradley, through our representative.
So the GDGA is the one who comes up with the budget. We allocate between sidewalk beautification and then district identity. And there's a promotional arm, and then the essentially the grits of it, the cleaning the streets, the ambassadors, trash pickup, all of those sorts of things. So we have an administrative component, and then we have a promotional and sidewalk beautification component to it. It's been that way for the 12 years. Again, it's self-funded by the property owners, and the board is the one, through executive committee, that ultimately develops the budget and then brings it to the board for its implementation.
So we're approving a budget today on our end. So I'm just trying to figure out structure-wise. I know the annual report is provided by the organization. I think this is the only time that we have an opportunity to,
I can offer
if
you
I-
some insight.
if I can finish?
Okay,
Yeah.
I just wanted to try and save
Yeah.
you a little hassle. City Council is not approving the budget today. They're approving our business plan that we are staying in the exact business plan we started with 12 years ago. Percentage to district identity, maintenance, those type of things. And this is something that we've talked about every 3 or 4 years because, as you know, when we get newer council members or whatever, but it is our annual report and our business plan, which comes with our budget, has to go to you to say, yes, you are the entity that makes sure we're doing what we're supposed to be doing as far as what our business plan is and that we're reporting back to you on behalf of the city of Glendale. But it's not a budget approval.
Yeah, okay. So, Mr. Galanian, if I may, I think this is the only time that the report comes from the organization. But I also think, I recognize that we have Mr. Calvert or whoever our community development director would be or representative would be that's on the board. But I think it would be helpful that with this report moving forward, we also get some staff recommendations. I know that doesn't come with this, but I'd like to see our staff and our economic development department are the boots on the ground. And I would love to have feedback beyond just the annual report that comes from the organization at the same time as it comes, because it's an opportunity for us to also engage in larger dialogue about, how we can make things better together. And some of the things that, maybe staff is seeing across the board throughout the year, aside from perhaps us as mayor or council members meeting with the organization on a personal level, but this grants us a public conversation about needs or potential opportunities for partnership that can be beyond just that. So, I mean, my ask, I guess, would be of staff to have some additional, separate from your annual report, but input that would help guide us in things that we could be doing. So,
Question, I'm not clear on that. You want staff to bring ideas on what? As to how could they operate, or what is it that we're trying to implement in here?
so if this, they're providing an annual report to us that comes along with, here's our plan for the next year and so forth, right? And so as part of that conversation, and again, separate from their annual report, because those, I think, need to be kept separate, is us also using this opportunity and that time to assess needs within the downtown district that is coming from staff, that is like the things that have been coming up throughout the year that may require maybe potential additional partnerships, ways to collaborate together on.
I think that could be done at any time. It doesn't have to be when they come to bring their plan. I mean, they have a plan based on their budget for downtown, and they know what they want to do with sidewalks and cleanup and promotion and advertising. But other than that, if the city or economic development is there as well, we are part of that plan basically, because Mr. Calvert is, city director is there, and he is part of. He's representing the city because we own properties in that area. We are part of that assessment budget, and we pay for that as well. So we have our representative that's on that board, and it's making suggestions based on the direction that he gets from probably the city manager or the staff, basic recommendations. But as far as us trying to put together a plan for them, we can do that anytime if we want to add to what they want to do. But
I'm not looking for us to put a plan together for them. I'm looking for us to have a better understanding of the needs at some point during the year. And Mr. Calvert, unless you say like, hey, there are other items that come to this council throughout the year that can be incorporated into, then that would be helpful.
So if I might just to
If
jump in
Mr.
real
Calvert
quick.
can can I have Mr. Calvert answer my question so
course.
it doesn't, thank you.
Mayor and council members, I guess if I could offer a recommendation to that, is that obviously we are a voting member. It's one voting member out of the full board. If there are things that come up throughout the year, whether you'd like to do that at a single point in time at the annual report or just throughout the year, that direction could be passed on to staff from the city council to bring up at those board meetings and have a discussion. If there are certain areas of concern, if there are things that we need to focus on. But the city is just one voting member, but there could be opportunities throughout that year to bring up things. I guess it's more of the formality of how council may like to do that, whether it's informal or requests throughout the year during council sessions, or if you'd like to consolidate that to one point in time and we offer feedback or input on the annual report. It could essentially be done either way, depending on the council.
I was kind of looking at it, not just us providing, because we hear things and we raise them from time to time, both on the dais and just with staff. I think what I'm looking for more is you're also the boots on the ground, so that you may be knowing of things or have ideas about ways that we can further partner with the Downtown Glendale Association and helping with their programming or whatever needs there may be, that we also get that input from you. What I'm looking for is the input from you, because I know we give you plenty of input throughout the year, and I don't want to add more to your plate, but I don't know at what points that.
I would say maybe if staff could think about how that could be done, and then also that discussion could be had with the DGA. As you know, the economic development team puts together their own annual report as well. There could be opportunities there, or there could be periodic updates with the city council. We can come back with some alternatives, though.
Okay, all right. Mr. Stevenson, sorry.
Yes, and if I might, the board meetings, of course, are open to the public. And even if it was the city wanting to have additional representatives there to facilitate the dialogue so that items could be brought up in future agenda for us, that would be an excellent conduit for us to be able to take them, recognize those concerns, and then perhaps, again, working with the city, maybe there are things that we work in partnership with to develop solutions for those issues that arise. Or maybe, again, in programming, et cetera, those can get brought to the board, and then that way we can facilitate it through, and the contributions that we're making as it relates to not only, again, the physical components that are on the street, but events at the city. Obviously, we already sponsor certain events, so if there are other opportunities there that we can drive individuals to be aware of Glendale, to come to the downtown, by all means, every board meeting is an exceptional opportunity to voice those, and that might start to increase the dialogue with the city.
Okay, and just to be clear, I wasn't just looking at like raising concerns. I was looking at how we work better together and how we can make things better for the downtown district.
Of course, agreed.
So yeah, so I just, okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Calvert. Okay.
Are we
All right,
making a motion?
do I have a motion?
I move the recommendation of the staff to City Council accept the calendar year 24 annual report and 25 budget as submitted by the Greater Downtown Glendale Association for the Greater Downtown Community Benefit District.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Brotman,
Yes.
Garpetian,
Yes.
Kasakian, Najarian,
Yes.
Mayor Asadrian.
Yes. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
We're adjourned. Do we need to wait for the screen change? Huh?
Mayor, we are live.
Welcome to the regular meeting of the Glendale City Council. May we have roll call?
Councilmember Brotman,
Here.
Garpetian,
Here.
Kasakian, Najarian,
Here.
Mayor Asadrian.
Here. And may we have your report?
Sure. Item number 1, closed session. 1A conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Najarian versus City of Glendale, LASC case number 24STCP 02101, claim of Najarian number 250009. B, conference with real property negotiators, city designated negotiators, Ruben Kalanian, John Tuctayo, Michael J. Garcia, Jillian Van Meiden, and Daniel Hernandez, property location 1745 Gardena Avenue. Negotiating parties, Silver Glen Properties LLC. Instructions to the negotiators will concern the price and terms of payment for the acquisition of property. C would be public employment performance evaluation, city manager and city attorney. D would be conference with labor negotiators. The city designated negotiator attending the closed session is Mayor Ellen Asadarian. The unrepresented employee positions are city manager and city attorney. Madam Mayor, we do have a card for this item, and it's for item number C. And Mr. Herbert Milano is right here.
Mayor Satrian, members of the City Council, I was wondering if we have a document that you will use in order to evaluate the city manager. Because I believe that we have a document that could be adapted so that the public would know what are the measures by which you will evaluate the performance of the city manager and the performance of the city. And that is the statistical section of the financial reports that come out in December. The last section gives us all the basic statistics of the city, and I think if we were to put essential information there that compares year to year, we would have an assessment of the performance of the city manager. Because if there is something else other than that report, it means that he's being evaluated on the projects that you yourselves have for which we have no information. Because I have 4 areas of concern, the one that I want to bring today. One of them is the recreational deficiencies. 30 years ago, we received a plan, the recreational element, and especially identifying the recreational planning area 10, had no neighborhood parks, and is the most efficient park in the whole city, the most efficient area. So we need to bring up at least 25 acres if we were to apply and be comparable to what the rest of the city has. But yet that plan is not updated, it's not presented, and you don't work against it. The budget is not done against that plan to figure out where we are. Second item is the deteriorating infrastructure. The pavement condition index tells us that about 1/3 of the city's roads need reconstruction. That's about $100 million that you have to adjust for it, and yet year after year, that gets ignored. The financial performance. The financial performance of the city, the last report we had from 2001, where the State of California auditor presented it, put us at the bottom 20% in terms of our the risk assessment with regard to our liability. Number 4, emergency services. The city of Glendale has, as its effectiveness with regard to cardiac arrest, less than a 10% effectiveness, which means that compared to the best-run cities that have EMS, which they do 60% as opposed to us 10%. So if I just take those 4 measures, those are of significant concern. So what I was wondering is, what is the transparency that we should demand so that we know how you evaluate the performance of the city manager and also your performance, because he is doing whatever you guys want. So if there are issues that are behind the scenes that we don't know about, well, then he could be evaluated on those hidden items. I like for it to be transparent, and I thought the statistical report of the financial statements will be it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Malone.
All right, we'll recess to closed session? Or do we anticipate reporting out?
We do not.
55.
What's your trip?
Closed?
Yeah, were you?